What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from the Segundo Brewing Company, and they are out of El Segundo, California, and this is their power plant, the 2025 release. So this is a triple IPA that comes in at 11.1% alcohol by volume, 90 IBUs at the time of review. This can is approximately 6 weeks old, and I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Sierra Hotel, for this beer. So huge thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies he sent my way. He sent me 6 beers in total, and all 6 of them are West Coast hop forward beers. And this is one of them. And Sierra Hotel was like, you got to get to the power plant as quick as possible because he had it super fresh. Then I think he had another can like a couple weeks later, and he was like, it's falling off a little bit. So he wanted me to review this as soon as possible. So I got to it pretty dang quickly, about 6 weeks old. We should be fine, but it might not be as like boisterous as it would have been if it was like, 6 days old or something. But I'm looking forward to it. They also say on the label that this one is brewed with Simcoe, Amarillo, Citra, and Mosaic. And they have a little, the Meltdown. I think this year they released I think it was like a mixed pack or something with a couple different versions of this one, or maybe like lower ABV ones. I don't know. I can't remember. I saw it on Instagram, but I'm old. I don't know what the hell's going on most of the time. So anyway, we're going to pour this one into the glass and see what we got going on here. I do have another El Segundo beer, but not from Sierra Hotel. I bought it myself recently, and that is the new Stone Cold Steve Austin beer, which is the Broken Skull 316. So I'm going to get into that in probably the next couple weeks, hopefully. So what does that look like? It looks like a beautiful West Coast IPA of some sort. It's a triple. So yeah, it has that nice clarity. You can see my hand through it. It make out my face a little bit as I talk shit like I usually do, but it has that beautiful like golden orange color. 2 fingers of a nice creamy and somewhat soap sudsy looking head. Looks pretty nice. Decent carbonation. Let me bust out the light here to see if that really does anything for you guys. Probably not, but you see the carbonation, gentle carbonation streaming through. Maybe not. I don't know. If you can't, you can't, but yeah, it looks nice. It kind of looks on camera how it does in person, so that's nice. Anyway, let's get a nose. Remember, 11.1%, 90 IBUs, a big triple. I see what Sierra Hotel was saying. So this has always been the case for me, and this is going back, since I started really drinking any kind of hop forward craft beer in like the early 2010s. When a beer, especially an older school beer, which this is kind of supposed to be like an older school, I think West Coast Triple IPA, when it starts to fade a little bit, I get orange marmalade on white bread. I get a little bit of orange marmalade on white bread, not completely, like faded or anything, but just a little bit. But yeah, there's a ton of like sweet orange character, a nice white bread, a little bit of like a resinous pine and a floral sensation. It's dank, probably from the Simcoe, maybe a little bit of the Mosaic. If you had an orange marmalade mixed with maybe like a stone fruit marmalade or some kind of like stone fruit jam, getting a little bit of peach and say apricot, maybe even like nectarine, touch of like a pineapple. It's a little bit boozy, 11.1%. You kind of expect it. Now, another thing I think, Sierra Hotel, you can correct me if I'm wrong because I'm wrong a lot, and him and I check quite frequently, but there was a couple beers known as like the Pliny the Younger killer. I think this was one of them. Like a lot of local people are like, I think this is good, if not better than Pliny the Younger. And the triple cuff that that he sent from Monstrous, which I'll be reviewing soon, is another one of those ones that like they kind of release it around when Pliny the Younger gets released. And he said when this is fresh, like he thinks it's up there. As I'm smelling it right now, it just smells like an old school West Coast Triple IPA that has faded a bit. It's a bit older. That orange marmalade, white bread, kind of what I'm getting. It does smell good though. I like orange marmalade on white bread. I actually grew up eating orange marmalade on like white toast. That's what my grandma enjoyed. So when I was growing up, I would have that quite frequently. So it's a fond memory. For some people, they may be like, it's not for me. I like that. So if this is orange marmalade on white toast, I'm still going to like it. It just, I know that it's not a super fresh, because it's 6 weeks, let's be honest. Everyone goes crazy about freshness. Keep it cold. You're usually good for a couple months at the very least. But some beers from some breweries can start falling off after 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. It happens. Maybe this is one of them. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again to Sierra Hotel. It's boozy. It is. It's tasty. It is. The orange marmalade and white bread didn't carry over as much as I thought it would, but it's still there. This is going to be a sipper. This is going to be a sipper. This is going to be a beer that I spend like the next hour drinking. The booze is apparent, not over the top. Like, listen, I drink a lot of high ABV beers on my channel, so it's not like off-putting or anything. It's just, I always say when it comes to triple IPAs of any sort, hide the alcohol to some degree. Don't be overly sweet. This is doing a good job of not being crazy sweet. However, not really hiding the booze all that well. Anyway, another sip. The body is like higher side of medium, lower side of full, which you might say is a little bit thin at 11.1. But if we go back to the bunch of triple IPA reviews I've done over the years, I like that. I like when the body's thinner on a triple IPA because it makes it easier to drink for me. I don't want it thick. I don't want it syrupy. I don't want it oily. I don't want it like full-bodied. I want it a little bit thinner because it makes it much easier to drink, especially something like this that has a little bit of booze presence. I don't want it to drink like a 11.1% Imperial Stout. I want it to drink like an 8% double IPA. And it is. So I like the body, even though it is technically thin for the style. The mouthfeel is an old school mouthfeel. It's moderate carbonation. It's crisp on the palate. It's smooth on the second half of the palate. Outside of that, like slight astringent booziness, it's pretty smooth on the palate going down. So I think the body's fantastic for what it's supposed to be, or what I look for out of the style. The mouthfeel is also appropriate. As it's opening up in the glass, I'm taking more sips. It's becoming more complex and nuanced. So front to back, it's definitely underlying white bread with an orange marmalade. That's like the first thing that hits the palate. But as it continues on, that jamminess I was getting in the nose from like a stone fruit vibe, so like a peach or an apricot or a nectarine, mango. It's more like the peach, apricot, nectarine realm though. It has like a stone fruit heavy jamminess to it, like midway through the palate, which is really nice. Second half of the palate, I'm getting a little bit of like a nondescript red berry pie from the Mosaic, and there's this nice dankness from the Simcoe on the finish. There's an underlying like a blood orange, like it's different from the orange marmalade, but it's more like a blood orange, like a zippy blood orange. As my palate becomes acclimated to it, the booziness is starting to die down, as it typically does. So that first sip, the shock to the palate, especially from the booziness, was kind of like, ooh, it's going to be a sipper. As I continue to drink on this one, it's much easier to drink. It's actually becoming quite tasty. And that's why, like the visceral initial reaction you have to beer, you got to let your palate acclimate to the beer, because like after that first, second sip, you're like, oh, not for me, or it's delicious. Then as you continue to drink on it, like things change. And after like 3 or 4 sips, things are definitely changing. I will say, I do wish this one had a more of a punch of a bitterness. The dryness is firm. The bitterness is like mild to moderate. I thought it'd be straight on moderate and like firm. It's approaching that, but it's way more dry than bitter. This is not like overly sickly sweet, so that is good. That's the one thing I want from it, not to be sickly sweet. The other thing is to hide the booze. As my palate gets acclimated, the booze is dying down a little bit. It's still noticeable, just not deterrent or a detriment to the beer. As you can see, I'm taking sip after sip, and I'm really digging it. I will say for a triple, though, it lacks the complexity that I kind of expect. It's orange marmalade on white toast with some like stone fruit jamminess, a little bit of like a dank and like berry kind of character, but it's not over the top. I'm all over the place. Like on one hand, I think this is delicious, and on the other hand, I'm like, it's kind of not. I don't know. Another sip. I'm going to drink the rest of this, and it's going to be a pleasure to do so. But I think I'm going to have to slow down because I've already taken a bunch of sips and I've drank probably like, 6 to 7 ounces of this. And it's one of those things where like, I'm going to drink this in 10, 15 minutes and then I'm going to be fucking sloshed because I'm a lightweight now. And it's 11.1%. I'm like, oh, what the fuck did I just do? 11.1% in a 16 fluid ounce can is like very akin to drinking like 3, 5% beers or whatever in a 12 fluid ounce can. Like it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. Like it's a lot. It is a lot. It's very dry. I don't know. I'm all over the place with this one. All right, rating. The pros. It's not sickly sweet like some triple IPAs can be. It has a good complexity, but not overly complex, which I kind of want from triples. If I'm going to drink 11.1% triple, I want like a big complexity, but at the same time, as long as they do the flavors justice of what's in there, I'm okay with it. The one I'd say downside of this one is that the booze is not hitting. Like, it's not hitting at all for me. It's on the palate, a big warming in my chest. It is what it is. Would have this been better 2 or 3 weeks ago? Probably. I know, again, Sierra Hotel was like, I wish I would have sent it to you a couple weeks beforehand, and I get that. But, we live in an imperfect world. Can't always do that. The fact that he was even able to send me one is so cool. So, I gotta be honest on my channel. I'm reviewing this to the merits of what I'm drinking in my glass. And what I'm drinking in my glass is a boozy, not overly complex, enjoyable, and tasty triple IPA. I wish there was a little bit more bitterness, but it's nice that it's not sickly sweet. So pros and cons for sure. Where does that land this one? Gotta be honest. So El Segundo's Power Plant Triple IPA, I'm gonna give this a straight 4 out of 5. That's the best I can do on what I'm drinking right now. And, it's just a rating. I would say that if you live close to El Segundo or you're in California, you can get their stuff, check it out. Especially like if they release this one in 2026 and you can get it fresh, give it a go. It's the 6-week mark. It is definitely starting to fade. I can see though it has glimpses of like what this beer would have been 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. It really does. And I'm not a guy who, like, you won't come to my channel and be like, oh, that IPA is 2 months old. I'm not drinking it. Get the fuck out of here. No, I drink what I drink, and some beers that are 2, 3 months old, hop forward beers, are delicious. Some aren't. So this is one that I would have loved to have 2 or 3 weeks fresh, just because I think it would have done the beer justice. It is what it is. Price point, availability. Sierra Hotel said $20 a 4-pack. That's great for 11.1% triple IPA, $5 a can. Yeah, all day, every day. And availability, it's El Segundo. This is probably a bit more limited. I think they ship throughout California. Could be wrong on that one. But if you're in California, you probably get your hands on this one. And I'd assume if you're somebody who likes Pliny the Younger, you probably at least would check this one out just to see what it's all about. I've never had Pliny the Younger, so I can't speak to the whole Pliny the Younger killer. But if this is the Pliny the Younger killer, then I probably wouldn't think Pliny the Younger is all that great. But again, a little bit older, so I get it. At the end of the day, it's cool that Sierra Hotel sent this one my way. I reviewed it to the best of my ability and gave you an honest review. A 4 out of 5 is still a really good score, but it comes up short as far as like top tier triple IPAs I've ever had. But it's still enjoyable, and it's still something I would recommend to people who love old school West Coast IPAs. I talked about the dankness, right? I'm not really getting like a huge resinous pine or a floral sensation, something you get from a West Coast IPA. Let me go back in. Maybe a little bit of like a resinous pine quality, but it's more dank than anything. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to shut this one down. Huge thanks to Sierra Hotel. Got 4 more West Coast hop forward beers from him. Can't wait to get into them. I'm sorry that I didn't like this one as much as I was hoping I would, Sierra Hotel, but, them's the breaks. I still appreciate you, my brother. Anyway, shut this one down. Appreciate it. To the next one. Cheers. And if you've had this one before, please post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it, because that's the whole point of doing these reviews. I want to hear other people's opinions, and I hope that your opinion is better than mine. I would not be surprised if I get some comments where like, man, that's a delicious beer. You just got it a little bit older or whatever. And Sierra Hotel knew, he's like, get to this one as soon as possible because it's already starting to drop off. So yeah, it is what it is. Cheers.